with my questions. I'm going to call them the Grind 5. So they're pretty much just popular questions that, us YouTubers get asked all the time. And this way, whenever I have guests, we're going to be able to get to know them more. All right, so we'll start off.
Hi guys, what's going on? I know I said I was going to film this earlier, but like I just said, or like you just saw when I was in the car at the mall, which by the way, I did pick some stuff up at the mall for the New York trip. I went to a couple different stores, but I got some stuff from Express, Urban Outfitters, H&M. H&M is usually like my go-to store when I need, some clothes to travel. They didn't really have anything, so I was kind of disappointed. But anyway, totally different. I just showed you guys a clip of the online coach, kind of how I explained before with the Grind 5, the questions. He explained it much better than I do. I'll put the link to his video in the description so you guys can watch that if you need a little more clarification. But I've never really sat down and kind of explained kind of how I got into fitness, or like why I do what I do, or even what I like to do outside of fitness. Really all my channel is kind of like my life, my lifestyle, and going to the gym, and some random crap in between. I try to keep it as raw as I can. So again, much like the ghost video, I'm going to try and do this in one take and then get it uploaded right away. So again, raw footage, guys. I mean, like I said, I say a lot. I probably sound like an idiot from time to time, but that's just how it is. Sorry, sipping on some protein. I'm getting ready to go work out. I'm going to hit legs. I got my Ghost Legend in the Umoro, so I'm going to use the Umoro today. And then I've got 50 grams of Skittles. These are probably from 4th of July. They still taste good, so I don't think they're bad. But got 50 grams of Skittles to get some sugar in me before we head out, and then head over there. But like I said, the Grind 5, just kind of 5 questions that YouTubers or fitness people get asked all the time. And the reason I like this is because it digs deeper into what you guys see on YouTube. And if you've never met me before, or if you don't know me, or even if you do and you never really knew these things about me or never really thought to ask, so I figured I'd just ask. You'll see me looking at my phone a lot, not because I don't know how to talk on camera. It's just because while I was thinking about all this stuff over the past couple days, because I wanted to post this video for a while, but I just never really had the time to sit down and do it, and I kind of wanted to put some thought into it. I just took, like, as you guys can see, like some random kind of notes there, just so that I hopefully don't ramble and like stumble over my words, even though I probably will, and I'll probably go in like 16 different directions throughout the course of the video. But it is what it is. Like I said, raw, uncut footage. The first question: why did you start lifting? So we'll just dive right into it. Really, the reason I started lifting and training in general was basically playing sports growing up. I played basketball in high school and then in college, and training just kind of went hand in hand with that. When I was younger, like 13, 14, 15, kind of early coming up in high school, I didn't really believe in it, only because I thought it would slow me down, or I thought I would get too big, which obviously is not the case because I'm still not big enough now. But I thought I would kind of get big, bulky, it would mess up my shot. Really came up with any excuse I could not to do it or not to get into it, which I really, really regret now. I didn't really get into it until I was later in high school, like going into my last year, and then after my last year when I knew I was going to play in college at Carroll, I kind of bought into it there. And then obviously when I got into college, we had our strength coach, and he had programming, and we had workouts and all that other stuff. And I always loved it. I always loved the training aspect, whatever it was. But obviously back then it was much more functional stuff. A lot of injury prevention, mobility. In the off season, we would definitely do some strength training, but I just fell in love with it. Obviously I loved basketball so much, and that was such a huge part of my life, that training for basketball, it kind of gave me an outlet, like to get every now and then I needed to get away from the game, from playing so much. You can only grind and shoot so many jump shots and layups and ball handling and all other stuff. The training kind of gave me like a mental break from that, where I kind of was able to reset. It's that old cliche thing: you plug your headphones in, you kind of zone out, and go from there. Once I got done playing basketball in college, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't have any direction. I had a degree that I thought was like the answer to everything. It's like everyone's like, oh, go to college, get your degree, which by no means am I discrediting education. I think everyone should be educated, but it was like, me personally, this is just me. I had no direction. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was working 4 jobs. I was a substitute teacher trying to get my first full-time teaching job, which I eventually had to move back to Colorado to get, which was a blessing in disguise. But I was a teacher, I was a personal trainer, which obviously kind of went hand in hand with where I'm going to go here in a couple minutes. But teacher, personal trainer, bartender. I bartended for like, probably 3 or 4 years when I was in college. On the weekends and some days during the week, just made some extra cash. I kind of liked it. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun when my friends would come in and we would have a good time. And I was also coaching a high school freshman team. Actually, the coach I played for in college, after we got done, he went back and started coaching a high school team, and I coached with him. He was the varsity coach. I was the freshman coach at the time. Freshman B team. Never forget that. Freshman B team. So I was working 4 jobs at the time. And again, sorry guys, I keep looking down. I'm just reading off my notes right here. But I was kind of in a toxic situation in my life as well. And Brittany and I have kind of talked about this, so I'm pretty sure she's okay and I'm okay. I'm comfortable saying it on camera. But I was living with a roommate at the time, and he's a super successful dude. He worked for a really big company. I won't say the name of the company, but they're multiple in every town. You guys would know it if I said it. But anyway, he got transferred for his job about like 2 hours away, so I didn't have a roommate anymore. I was living alone. We literally had a brand new townhouse that we were renting, and I was fresh out of college. I didn't really have all that much money. I had extra cash to spend and blow and make it look like I had money, but I didn't really have like any furniture or anything. Like, all the furniture in the townhouse was his. So when he moved out, there was literally nothing in this place. I had my bed. I had I think I might have had a nightstand or maybe 2 nightstand, the clothes in my closet, and then a couple plastic bowls and some silverware. And literally, guys, that was it. It was the most depressing situation I'd ever been in my life. On top of that, I was on the tail end and just gotten out of a very superficial and toxic relationship. It probably should have ended a lot sooner than it did, but I just didn't. I don't know why, but for what it's worth, all of that put together, again, training was kind of my outlet from all of that, and I was just able to kind of get away. And obviously, working at a gym really helped because I was surrounded by positive people who like to do the same thing as me all the time. So that kind of helped, but that's really where my love for training kind of fell into place. I really liked, at the time I was young, I think I was like 23, 24. No, actually, I totally just lied to you guys. I was 25 at the time. So my physique was changing a lot, and I was working with a coach at the time, and I was getting ready for my first men's physique show. So my body was changing a lot, and I fell in love with it. Like, visually being able to see my body change, on top of the feeling that I got from training and working out, I couldn't put it down. I talk about this with my students all the time. It's like, what's your natural high? What do you do that doesn't involve drugs or alcohol or anything like that gives you that euphoria of a high? Mine was training. And, honestly, some people take that and misinterpret that all the time. They think, it's such a stereotype too. They think egotistical, does it so that he can get attention from girls, does it so because he loves himself so much, he's so conceited, this and that. That's really not it, guys. I love it. Like, some people like to go out and drink and have a good time, and that's fine. Some people like to ride mountain bikes. Some people are into cars. I just happen to be into fitness, and it's just what I do. I literally, I don't want to say I'm addicted to it, but in kind of not a bad way, but it's what I get my natural high from. It's what I really like to do. Back when I was competing, it was the structural aspect of it. You wake up, you do your cardio, you come home, you eat, you train, you work, you do this, that. I loved it because it put me in kind of that structure where I could forget about all that living in a house with no furniture, getting out of a bad relationship, all that other stuff. It kind of gave me an outlet, and I just fell in love with it even more. It was kind of that feeling of self-improvement, knowing I was kind of on my own at the time. I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. So those are kind of why I started training. Like I said, it all started with sports, but the next question on here is, how do you stay motivated? Honestly, guys, self-motivated, really. It sounds corny, it sounds cheesy, but I really am. At this point, I've been doing this, it sounds crazy, I really only been training for like 4, maybe 5 years, like seriously, like going back to my competing days up until now. I don't need to, train just to take pictures to put on Instagram and hopefully get a shit ton of likes from. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I do that because I like to share my passion. I like to share what I like to do, and that's what mine is. Like I said, some people like to go out and drink. Totally fine. I'd go out and drink too. Some people like to ride bikes. Some people like cars. I just like fitness. So that's, kind of why, I post about those things, and that's what motivates me. I'm self-motivated. I'm self-driven. I'm the kind of guy that can go to the gym by myself and get a absolutely phenomenal workout and feel accomplished. When I watch my physique change lately, in the past couple really years, I mean, it's been no secret I've struggled to put on weight. Now, before, I think when I competed my very first time, I was maybe 165 pounds on stage and didn't even belong on there. The next time I competed, I was maybe 175. And since then, I mean, now I don't really step on the scale all that often, but I'm in between. I flux between that like 191, 195 range, seeing myself make that progression, knowing all the hard work and dedication and sacrifice that goes into that. And again, it sounds cheesy and it sounds tacky, but it really is true. Like, that's what motivates me. I'm self-motivated. The other thing that motivates me is, or I shouldn't say the other thing, because there's more than that, but the other thing that comes to mind is just, it's motivating to me creating that balance in your life, whether it's work or my relationship or training itself. Creating that balance and knowing that I can do all of them and balance all that. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm sure you've seen me on camera before where I am exhausted, I look like shit, I look like I haven't slept for days, which, I mean, I do, but sometimes I only get like 5 hours a night. Finding a balance between all of those things, it really motivates me. It just is kind of proof that when people say I don't have time to do something, I try not to get mad or like upset, because if you really wanted something that bad, you would make time for it. And like for me, because training and working out and fitness in general is kind of my passion, I make time for it because that's what makes me feel good. So again, that's kind of how I stay motivated, self-motivated. Developing that balance in my life, it sounds weird, but that's what motivates me. The third question on here, and again, sorry guys if I'm rambling, I'm trying to do this in one take so I can get it uploaded right away. My hobbies outside of the gym. This is always a good question, because people always, again, have that misconception of like, oh, you can't go out and have a couple beers because you work out all the time. Well, like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I hear because I hear that all the time, where people are like, oh, you probably won't eat that because you work out all the time. I'm like, dude, I'll tell you guys in a second. One of the questions is favorite food. But I do things just like any other normal person. Like I said, my hobby just happens to be working out. But hobbies outside the gym, obviously basketball. I love basketball. It'll always be in my life. It's been in my life since I was a little kid. And obviously I started to pick it up and take it more seriously as I got through high school and through college. And now with coaching, I'm kind of on a different I'm on the flip side of it, obviously not being a player anymore. And I try to play, guys, and it's just not good. Like, my knees just don't do it anymore. And the kids now are far more. Actually, I could still give a couple of them a run for their money. You know who you are. If you guys are watching, I'll give you a run for your money. Basketball, vlogging, of course. Vlogging, to me, everyone's like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? That's weird. I think it's fun. I think it's cool. A video is cool to me. Editing is cool to me. Sharing things on social media, to me, is cool. It's what I like to do. I like to, like as you said a couple minutes ago, I like to share my passion with people. So, again, vlogging is cool. Living in Colorado, you can get outside and you can do almost anything, literally, especially in the summertime. If it's not too hot, you can go outside, you can run, you can be on a boat, you can go do the incline, you can be, and just get outside and enjoy it. Literally today, like you saw earlier, when unfortunately I couldn't video this, when I was in that park, just being outside, just absorbing the sun. And it's crazy out here, like how much the blue skies and that lifestyle of being in Colorado, it just brings you, it makes you feel alive. It makes me feel so alive. Traveling is definitely a big hobby of mine. Obviously we're headed to New York City in a couple days, but out in Vegas, I mean, for what it's worth, the road trip, driving there sucked a lot, I won't lie to you guys. But traveling and being on the road and things like that, it's a lot of fun. Last year I went to a wedding out in Arizona. It's crazy, I'd never been to Arizona before, but that was a ton of fun. Last summer, Brittany and I went down to this tiny, tiny little beach down in Florida, and we just kind of lived like beach bums for like a week. That was totally cool. So I really like traveling. Music, I'm a huge music guy. I love to just vibe out, chill. Lately, I haven't really been into listening to music when I'm in the gym, only because it's like you can only listen to so much like hype music and pump up music before you just kind of just do your own thing. And I like everything from hip hop, rap, R&B, alternative. I don't really do like rock and roll too much. I'll do some country. Brittany gets me on some country every now and then, and my man from college, Player, he got me on a little bit of country too. So I'll do it. I don't like it, but like I said, I like, you know, the R&B, the hip hop, rap, alternative stuff like that. Another thing I really like to do, honestly, is you guys are just kind of like vibe out. Like, you guys have seen me, and it sounds crazy. It's like, you're 20 years old. You still use the term vibe out? Yeah, I do. You know, you see me a lot at like Starbucks or Whole Foods. I'm just kind of chilling. Like, I like to just go places and just kind of chill, just see, just observe. I'm a huge people watcher. I'm huge into like what's going on around me. So I kind of like to do that too. I really like to do that too. Along with that, trying new spots, like restaurants, bars. Brittany and I are big into like trying new restaurants, new bars. Like when we go to New York City, we have like a list of places we want to go. So I definitely like to do that too. And the last thing on here, it's gonna sound cheesy, but it is what I do. Like, you know, being a teacher, being a mentor to young people. I really like being there for kids, and just talk about really anything. Obviously within the limitations of being appropriate, but I really just like being there for kids because I felt like, you know, when I was younger, I didn't really have that. And it's like, yeah, I had my parents. Don't get me wrong, my parents are huge in my support system. But there's just certain things like you don't want to go to your parents and talk about. Like, either it's just awkward or it's weird. You know, I have an older brother too, and like there's just certain things you don't want to go to them to talk about. And for me, I didn't really have that person when I was younger, so that's why I kind of like to be that person for younger kids. Obviously, I like to teach kids about being healthy and taking care of themselves, but I just enjoy like getting to know them, especially like young teenagers or teenagers in high school. You know, that's a tough part. If you guys can remember back, that's kind of a tough part of your life. There's a lot going on, a lot of emotions. You know, honestly, it sounds crazy, but kids these days, they're rude, they're mean. I mean, adults are that way too, but with social media and, you know, bullying and all this other stuff, it's crazy out there. So, you know, sometimes they can kind of think irrationally and act irrationally. I like to kind of be that voice of reason, if you will. I know I sound like an old man, but I kind of like to be that voice of reason and that mentor to them. I don't know, one of those things, again, it just kind of makes me feel alive. But sorry if this is dragging on, guys, but we're almost done. Favorite food? Easy. Pizza, donuts, ravioli. Strangely enough, if you put a plate of ravioli in front of me, I will eat out of that in like 2.5 seconds. Donuts, a given. Pizza, a given. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like my beer, I like my wine when Brittany and I are just kind of hanging out, but those three for sure: pizza, donuts, and ravioli. And the very last question, it's actually kind of crazy. I left it blank on here, if you guys can see that. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I kind of have a two-part answer for this, and the reason for that is I'm not really big into trying to plan my future. And there's people out there, like Brittany's one of them. She wants to know, like, you know, you have to have a plan. I want to do this by this time, this in 1 year, this in 3 years, this. That's totally fine. If that's how you think, if that's how your brain works, that is totally fine. For me, in 5 years, I just really want to look at my life, look at myself in the mirror and say, I am successful, and I'm going to continue to be successful with whatever it is that I try to do, or whatever it is that I am doing at the time. You know, obviously with trying to get into this whole real estate thing, that is something I really want to be really successful at. Trading, I really want to be successful at. I want to be happy. You know, like I said, I have kind of these dreams and aspirations of getting into business, and, you know, I just think it's tailored more towards my kind of life, or me personally, you know, being in meetings with people, talking business, negotiating things. I just think that that's more fitting to me. So if I had to say do I see myself in 5 years, I don't necessarily know if it is business. I would like it to be. I think that's cool. My answer to that is successful, but at the same time my answer is I don't know, because I don't want to plan something like the future if I don't know what it's going to bring. Like, you never know what curveball life is going to throw you. You never know what chance of luck you're going to fall on tomorrow. So I don't really like to say, where do I want to be in 5 years? I don't really know the answer to that. The only thing I can say is I just want to be happy and successful with whatever it is that I try and do, or whatever it is that I am doing. So those are my responses to the Grind 5. I don't know why Raymond called them that, but those are my answers to the Grind 5, so you guys get to know me a little bit better. Even if you don't know me, or you never really thought to ask those things, or maybe just wanted, I don't know why, but maybe you just wanted to hear those things. But those are them. Hopefully this isn't too much rambling. It's not too long. Good news, the camera didn't die, so this will be separate from the vlog. I'm going to upload today. I'm actually going to get this on my computer right away, so I can hopefully get it edited and uploaded immediately. And I will continue vlogging for the rest of the day. Like I said, I'm going to be finished up this protein shake, Skittles, Ghost, and then I'm on my way to the gym to train legs. I will see you guys in a little bit. Thanks for watching.